Hi guys, welcome to another class of contemporary Spanish politics. Today we're going to be talking about the Spanish foreign relations. Today class we are going to structure in three different parts, two videos. The first video actually I'm going to talk about the first two strategic aims, the European Union and Ibero-America. And in the second one I'm going to cover the Maghreb, the United States, the Spanish relation with the US, Spain in the international organizations, and what tools does Spain have that other countries do not. So let's get started. What are the strategic aims of foreign policy and who sets them? At the end of the day, are the areas of interest of a country, which are the areas they're going to focus the most. Who sets them? Obviously, the government. In the case of Spain, it's going to be the presidente del gobierno and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ministro de Asuntos Exteriores y Cooperación. And do they change over time? Of course, yes. I mean, absolutely. Depending on which administration is in power, there's a focus on a certain area or another area. I'm going to comment actually some changes that took place after the new minister took office in January this year, and how a strategic aim is slightly changed. But let's get into it. Obviously, the main area of Spanish foreign policy is the European Union. The European Union, Spain became a member state of the European Union in 1986. We mentioned this in this class, I think, already. And since Spain has benefited greatly from the European Union, and it's not actually only my opinion, but it's actually the opinion of the Spanish people. If we ask the Spanish people whether being a member state of the European Union is something good, bad, or neither good or bad, actually 69% of the people say that is something good. That's above the European average. In other countries, this will be 61%. And actually, bear in mind that the reputation of the European Union was damaged by the economic crisis and the handling of the economic crisis between 2011 and 2015. And the austerity measures imposed by Brussels to the Spanish government. But why do we still think is something positive? Because actually, Spanish people think that Spain benefited of their membership of the European Union. 75% of the people think so. And how is this possible? Is because the European Union provides not only with a single market, that is something that is not really visible for people. People do not really give enough credit to the European Union because of what it means in terms of the added value of being a member, but actually also because the European Union provides with structural and cohesion funds. These are funds that go to the less developed member states to try to reduce the gap between those more developed and the less developed. And Spain, since Spain joined in 1986, has benefited greatly. If you've been in the motorways of Spain, a lot of the money to build those roads actually came from Brussels, came from the European Union. And actually, if we ask the question, that the United Kingdom left the European Union this same year, January this year, but the referendum was in 2016. But if you ask this question, whether Spanish people will want to leave the European Union, only 10% of the Spanish people will say that they want to leave the European Union, and 74% will say that they want to remain. And how does the European Union affect Spain? How does the European Union impact Spanish people's life? I talked about the funding, but obviously there's much more. Actually, much of the legislation that now is enforced in Spain actually comes from Brussels. The European Parliament legislates on a wide variety of issues that, like nationals, we are not even aware of. There are many more fields that we can think of. Obviously, the European Union originally had a focus on the economy and the single market, but this has expanded from competence to fisheries to services to a wide variety of policies. Here we're not gonna go one by one. Obviously, there are many, but by the end of the day, there's a lot of legislation that comes from Brussels that impacts us. Second, monetary. We are part of the monetary union. There are two levels. On the one hand, we have the European Union with 27 member states, but we also have the Eurozone, which only a few member states, not a few, but quite some member states are part of. These are the countries that have euro as a currency. What does this mean? That Spain does not have its own federal reserve, so to say. We have the European Central Bank that is in Frankfurt that determines the monetary policy of all those countries that we share the euro as a currency. And last but not least, the common foreign security policy. This is still very, very basic. It's still cooperation. We try to cooperate on foreign affairs. And actually, the current coronavirus crisis is showing the weaknesses of the European Union when cooperating in any issue that is international. So this is how the European Union affects us, but how can Spain participate in the European Union? Of course, Spain has a voice, is the fourth largest member of the European Union, so the relative vote, the relative strength of the Spanish vote is relatively high. I mean, we are more bigger than another 23. But besides that, there are other tools, and you can be influential in Brussels. When I say Brussels, I mean the European Union, by positioning nationals in key institutions. And this was the case with the last, when we distributed the last leadership positions, so to say. I don't want to get too complicated because you're not familiar with the Commission and the Council and the different institutions of the European Union. But the thing I want to tell you is that this guy you can see there in the slide and to the left of your screen is Josep Borrell, and right now he's the High Representative for Common Foreign and Security Policy in the European Union, and that's a relevant role. It's a political role. He's a Vice President of the Commission, and that way Spain can be influential within the organization. Another way of being influential is by, within the European Union, coordinating your action with other member states. And Spain does so in what we call Med7. Med7 are the Mediterranean countries within the European Union and that normally share interests. And because of sharing interests, normally they can reach a common position that they bargain together in Brussels, and by not being one single member state out of 27, but 7 with a large demographic weight, that makes them stronger when bargaining with other countries. And obviously, be it France and Italy being part of this as well, makes it a large group, quite a large group, because it's 3 out of the 4 largest countries that are part of Med7. So what's another strategic aim of Spain foreign policy? It's Iberoamerica. Actually, do not confuse, I mean, there are quite a few terms there, South America, Hispanoamerica, Iberoamerica, Latin America. I think the best one to use in this case is Iberoamerica. Why Iberoamerica? Because those are the countries that have historical roots shared with Portugal and Spain. Because of that, we share culture with those countries and include, quite a few countries. Almost whole continent. Only the Guyanas are not part, and some islands in the Caribbean are not part. And how does Spain relate to those countries? It does so through Ibero-American summits. Ibero-American summits are a strong tool. Obviously, bilateral relations with the states of Ibero-America are also important, but Ibero-American summits that take place every 2 years are an interesting tool to try to coordinate efforts and to be more influential in the region. Obviously, sharing language is a key aspect of Spain being influential in Ibero-America, but not only language, but also culture. Migration to Spain from Ibero-American countries when Spain was doing well economically was large, as we've mentioned already in the class. So we're going to have a small break here, and after that we're going to continue talking about Maghreb. And after that, the United States and the different tools that Spain has to participate in foreign policy.